Hey guys, SaveAsUntitled here to discuss day 2 of E3 with all the new stuff that came out. It was better than day 1, but still not very exciting. So first off, I think I made the good decision of not covering the later conferences in a second part of yesterday, because the later conferences for yesterday was just as bad as the Microsoft one, except for a couple things. The Sony conference was definitely better than the Microsoft because they actually showed some good games like Beyond Two Souls, which is being made by the same people who made Heavy Rain, and Last of Us, which is the first thing I saw today that was just like, wow, that kind of gave me a bit of chills. That looked like a really cool game. It's like a post-apocalyptic shooter, and it just, I don't know, something about the trailer and stuff, they really interest me. It looks really cool, and it really pisses me off that I'm an Xbox owner and it's a PS3 exclusive. I didn't see many of the other information from the other conferences. I just saw a little bit of the Dead Space trailer, and that looks really cool. That's another series I really have to get into. I really have to catch up on games. I was like 3 or 4 years late on Bioshock, but you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about E3 news and on to Nintendo's conference. And why did I say like E3 news? I don't know. And now to our top story. Now, the major meat of the second day of E3 was obviously in the Nintendo conference. They did have some major titles for both their systems, the Wii U and the 3DS. I'll go in a little more depth in this later, but let's make an overall summary of the conference. What really disappointed me that there was no real surprises during the Nintendo conference. It was just basically what anyone who's ever seen a Nintendo conference would expect. Some Mario games, some Wii Sports stuff called Nintendo Land, which, why do you focus so much time on that? You know the people who watch E3 are hardcore gamers, not the people like, oh, I'm gonna waggle my Wii and we're gonna make a touchdown with the EA. I don't know. This, you, Nintendo, I don't know how game companies don't realize this. I think they're doing this because they know the casual market will make them more money, but they're just pissing off some of their hardcore gamers. Maybe they're doing it for the money because they know hardcore gamers are gonna buy the games anyway, and casual gamers are like, oh, look at this, I saw it on the internet, so I feel smart. No, just focus on the hardcore gamers. They did a little bit by announcing Pikmin 3. I am not a fan of the Pikmin games. I can't say that I've never actually played one, but it just doesn't seem like my cup of tea. RTSs aren't my thing, but that was probably the biggest surprise they had at all at E3. It really didn't feel like an E3 presentation. It felt like a regurgitation of stuff they've already done. And also, they had stuff that was just basically gimmicky stuff for the Wii U's controller, which that just really disappoints me because that makes me think the Wii Pro controller isn't going to be like the other option for every game. It's going to be more like it's with some games, like how some games on the regular Wii there was only the controller, and then some games were like Wii and nunchuck. I have a feeling it's going to end up like the Wii and nunchuck thing. So that kind of strayed me away of the hype over the Wii U, thinking it was kind of cool, but I never know. Nintendo has some things to pull out of their sleeves sometimes. Overall, it was probably the best out of the three major conferences so far, but that's really not saying much. If I had to give it a grade, it'd probably be like a B minus. So, yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, there was nothing exciting. I'm trying to remember back to E3 last year if there was anything really exciting. Luigi's Mansion, when they announced the new one, that kind of excited me, but it was on the 3DS, which is like $200 at that time, which is freaking ridiculous. And that's why you're losing money, Nintendo. Now on to the games they announced, which is the major meat of their conference. They actually announced games, unlike Microsoft or Sony. Sony did a couple, but for the Wii U, they announced a new 2D Mario title come on, that's kind of obvious. Zombie U, which is being made by Ubisoft. It looks kind of interesting, but still, again, the controller is going to stray me away from it. Hopefully, it's one of those games where the new Wii U controller is optional, because, I mean, it looks cool, but it seems like it's gonna be a really gimmicky, like, oh, we're fighting zombies. Oh, I need to check my inventory. Whoop! Oh, this is so useful. I'm going to get sick of that, just looking down at another screen if I have to do that for every game. There's also Pikmin 3, which was probably the biggest surprise of Nintendo's conference. I'm not really a Pikmin fan, so it wasn't very happy to me. There's also this Lego City thing, which basically looked like Lego Grand Theft Auto. It looked actually kind of cool, but I'd rather just play regular GTA instead because it's GTA but Legos. It's like what the kid goes, he's like, Mom, I want this game. You can't have that. It has blood and violence and gore and stuff. I want this game! Yay, Legos! Go ahead, little Johnny. It seems just like that substitute. It does look really cool though. I mean, I have to admit, being an older gamer, it looks kind of cool, but not my cup of tea. And the other major title they announced, which is a game that's already been out for like a year or two, is Batman Arkham City, which basically looked like Batman Arkham City with a bunch of gimmicks added to it with the Wii U. It's just Nintendo's letting me down. No big announcements, no big things that make me go, oh my god, dude, and like spike something against the ground and break my laptop and just be like really sad. And another big thing, they didn't announce a Zelda title for either system, which is kind of weird, but I guess they don't do Zelda titles every year because they would probably get stale, but still, no surprises. I'm really disappointed in you. Now on to the games they announced for the 3DS. A new Luigi's Mansion, new Super Mario Bros. 2, and Paper Mario Sticker Star were the three major 3DS titles that Nintendo focused on during their press conference. Luigi's Mansion was announced last year, so this was no surprise to anyone, but it's nice to see this underrated Luigi's Mansion getting a sequel, because that was just a fantastic game that is really ridiculously underrated. New Super Mario Bros. 2, same old, really. I mean, it's just another Mario side-scroller. I mean, ever since, like, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I've been asking for more Super Mario side-scrollers, but it seems like they're just oversaturating now with one for the Wii U, they're one for the 3DS. It seems like they're gonna run out of people's enjoyment of it, because the space between Super Mario Bros. 3 and New Super Mario Bros. Was like perfect for setting me up for a new side-scrolling Mario game. But only thing about it was I was happy to see the leaf ability slash raccoon thing from Super Mario Brothers 3 to be back, because that is like the best power up ever, and I don't know why they're just like, nah, we're gonna leave it out just to piss people off. Nintendo, you don't listen! Oh my god! And I don't know why, I just screamed about that. And Paper Mario Sticker Star, which is again awesome to see a sequel to an awesome game, even though I really didn't like Super Mario Bros. Super Paper Mario for the Wii, it's just not my cup of tea. But this is kind of what made me mad about the trailer from what I could see. It looked a lot more like Super Paper Mario with like less RPG elements and more like side scrolling hit the enemies like Super Paper Mario's gameplay is. And I was really hoping for a true follow-up to Paper Mario Thousand Year Old Door, but it looks like we're not getting it with this Paper Mario. It looks a lot closer because it does seem like it has some RPG elements at least, but I'm kind of disappointed by it not being a sequel to a true sequel to Thousand Year Old Door. That's what I was hoping Super Paper Mario was, but nah, it disappointed me. What really surprised me is the lack of 3DS games that they showed, especially because Nintendo lost money this quarter for the first time ever. Well, first time in at least a long time that they've lost money in a quarter because they had to drop the price of the 3DS because it was selling horribly. But this might be the cause they said that they mentioned this a couple times during the press conference that there's going to be another separate 3DS game thing. So hopefully they'll announce some stuff there. And it looks like that's all we had to see today from E3. The major conferences are up, so I probably won't be doing this everyday type thing for the rest of E3. But maybe after 2 or 3 days, I'll wrap up what's the rest of E3 and do an overview of what happened. So I've been SaveAsUntitled. If you're new here and you like this, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow or the next day or the next day after tomorrow, which is today. Yesterday is over. It's a different day. Sound like broken record? I don't know.